excuse me, on Friday, October 25th.
Dude.
I do.
No, I didn't have your mic on.
That's all right. Hello, everybody. Let's try that again. Good morning. It's Friday, October 25th. It's 10:10 in the morning. Feeling pretty good. Could be better, but doing all right. Excited for the show. It's going to be a good one.
Oh, yeah, buddy. I'm looking forward to it.
All right. Hope everybody had a fantastic reading week. Mine was pretty good. Didn't really rest up as much as I should have or wanted to, but got some work in, which was good. But most importantly, got to see some really close family members and some really close friends. And going back to Ottawa, resetting the clockwork is always really important for good efficiency, I find, throughout the year and for working hard. Taking a nice break, going back to a place that has a little bit more space than the congested Toronto, I find is really, really helpful for maintaining a good balance.
Good for your mental health, for sure.
Yeah. Also, just the air back in Ottawa, I find, is cleaner. I can take a deeper breath out there. You know what I mean?
I'm pretty far out in the boondocks there, but it's so much nicer, man. People aren't rude. It's not gross.
Well, and the other thing too is the wind. The wind out there, when you catch a breeze, it's a nice, refreshing breeze. Here, when you catch a breeze, it's usually from the sewer grate, and that mist sticks to your legs.
it's like the steam from the subway. It's disgusting, man.
It's the fog.
The worst thing you're gonna smell on the farm is the 2-stroke chainsaw, and that thing smells pretty nice. Yeah.
As products of our environment, I feel like we both are. We don't shy away from the smell of any burning gasoline or oil.
Yeah. Which could say a lot about our development.
How was the reading week for you?
It was good. Really just spent time with the family. Really, I linked up with some friends, but I bottled cider with my dad. Went for a motorcycle ride with my dad and the brothers. Just kind of hung out, did rural things.
Yeah.
We saw the Red Green show.
Right.
That was pretty cool. I mean, he's not looking too hot. He's getting up there for sure. But I mean, it was good to see him. He thinks it's going to be his last show. I don't know. He seems like a trooper, so.
How long's he been doing it now?
I mean, I feel like his show was in the 90s, but it could have been early 2000s, But my dad was telling me about the show that he had with his wife or something like that, and that was more in the 80s, I think. So he's been going at it a long time. But I mean, I told this to my grandpa, and he said the guy's only 73, which isn't awful, but I feel like it's a hard 73.
Yeah. Well, just for being on a production of that scale, that is fairly consistent at that age would be hard for anyone. Even if you've been doing it for more than 20 years, having to maintain a show for over 20 years, man. That's insane.
Yeah.
And does he still maintain his same? Does he have a targeted demographic fan base? Does he have that family following of fans?
I think it's everyone there was kind of older. I don't know, white. Everyone there was in a plaid jacket. I think there's definitely a target demographic that remembers him, watched his show live on CBC, every week. So I mean, it was good to see that, and they were all kind of they all looked like my dad, to be honest. So.
Oh, that's awesome. Yeah, I never really watched it that much, but I've heard so much about it and so much about the.
What did you get up to on the reading week? I didn't actually see you.
I know.
We're both in Ottawa, but I didn't get a chance to meet up.
So, yeah, I know, which friggin' sucks. But first day, so Saturday, left Friday night from Toronto, got to the cottage late Friday. Believe it was Friday, yeah. Had family dinner Saturday, relaxed at the cottage all day Saturday. It was great. And then stayed there for a majority of Sunday. But Sunday was kind of crappy because it was raining a lot. The weather wasn't too great. It was a little cold. But my aunt and uncle have this awesome outdoor propane fireplace that sits under this nice little cabana. It's friggin' gorgeous, and it stays super, super warm, so you can stay out there all night. But it kind of defeats the purpose of having a real bonfire, It's always frustrating because we're sitting there, the whole family, and we're around this propane, propane fireplace, and right across from us we can see in our eye view just the actual fireplace sitting all sad and lonely. It's kind of a sad sight to see, man.
Yeah,
honestly.
it really is.
Yeah. And then Sunday afternoon, Liz and I, for those of you that don't know, Elizabeth Vaudry is my girlfriend. She's very great. We drove to Ottawa.
Shout out to Liz. Hi, Liz.
Shout out to Liz. Drove to Ottawa. Had Sunday family dinner at her place, which was lovely. Her dad's a wicked cook. That was great. Saw her little nieces and nephews. They're super cute. Family was great. And then rest of the week, Ethan, my little brother, had exams. He goes to Carleton, so he was pretty busy throughout the week. So I helped him study quite a bit, and the house was pretty quiet, way quieter than I wanted it to be. Like I wanted it to be filled with friends and seeing people, but that's probably one of the reasons I was like fairly busy and couldn't have a lot of stuff going on at the house. Ethan had exams, but after Wednesday, that was his only exam. He did pretty well. Then Wednesday night hung out with the fellas, and then just saw some friends. That was pretty much it. But I didn't do what I wanted to do. I didn't feel satisfied.
Yeah, we wanted to talk about this actually because I feel like reading week is kind of a lost cause, because I had so much on my plate that I had to do, and the internet connection at home is slower than molasses. Like I was gonna say something a lot worse right there.
Molasses in January.
Yeah. But it's pretty much dial up, and like everything I had to do was online, and I was so busy. My dad's like, "Hey, you want to do this?" And I'm like, "Yeah, sure." I can't get onto Google Drive anyway.
Right.
So I got back on like Thursday, and I'm like, "Wow, I still have a lot that I have to do. Like, what the hell am I gonna do here?"
And that seems to be like a recurring pattern for me. Is like I'm always like, in the initial like planning of going back home for a week, I'm always planning like, okay, I'm gonna work like a little bit every day. I'm gonna try and pick away at the stuff that I have to do, and then it always transitions into, okay, well, I'm gonna come back to Toronto like Thursday, Friday, so I'll have the whole weekend to catch up on stuff, so I can use the rest of that time for pure leisure. But I always find myself hitting that silly pattern of like always just pushing it back, procrastinating in a way.
Yeah.
And then get back to Toronto Thursday, exhausted from the travel, want to nap, want to sleep, and then work actually starts getting done like Friday night, Saturday.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
It's always last minute. Yeah.
Exactly. But I feel like our reading week's really, really worth it because we see like a ton of other schools, like Queens, for instance. A few of my friends from Queens were trying to go back to Ottawa for a good amount of time, like a little vacation.
Yeah.
But they only get 2 days, so they get the Friday and the Monday off. So they get like a 4-day reading week.
See, we were gonna talk about this because I have a conspiracy theory.
Mm-hmm.
I think that all the schools meet up and they say we can't have the same reading week because if we have the same reading week, like everyone's just gonna get plastered. It's just gonna be like chaos. There's gonna be riots in the streets. Because like our buddies in Carleton, they had reading week this week, right?
Right. Yeah. It's still going on. So
So when I was back in Ottawa, back from Ryerson, like nobody was free. Everyone still had class, and then they're all off this week. My little brother's at Carleton. I couldn't really hang out with him because he what's in class all day,
Yeah, likewise. That's the same thing with Ethan. Yeah.
So yeah, we're on to you.
Yeah, we are. We understand the
think
crossover.
That one over there is the one that's looking at you.
We understand the crossover platforms that are occurring.
The crossover. This is in Fortnite.
Yeah. Well, it's interesting. Like, I wonder why it's some schools, because for the longest time I thought it was because of like academic integrity. Most schools wouldn't want to have like a elongated reading week or a longer reading week than most because they want to maintain the idea that they're a very academically inclined school.
Yeah.
And like associating with that long of a layoff kind of tarnishes the idea of that. But I don't know if that's necessarily true. I think it's just, to your point, I think you're right in saying that they do it just so that not every single student from every university is completely and utterly useless when they get back from the break.
Well, when is U of T's? Because that'd be a pretty point and click solution there. When is U of T's reading week?
I'm not sure.
Because if U of T's reading week is the same as ours, then our point is null because we would just go and have riots and put Doug Ford's head up on a skewer.
Yeah. There's a lot of protesting going on around Doug Ford. There's been since he was brought in, but like even yesterday, I'm walking through the library, and this has happened a couple times, and it's people just constantly saying like fight back against Doug Ford, but there's levels to it. There's some people that are saying that and handing out pamphlets, and there's some people that are legitimately screaming with signs saying like Doug Ford is the devil, blah blah blah.
Yeah.
Which honestly, you couldn't really argue, but
Yeah, I mean, he's not wrong. I don't want to get too politically charged on this, though.
No.
It is 10:20. I think it's time to move on to our second segment. Do you have a sound effect you want to play?
Oh, actually.
Well,
let's see.
I'll do the introducing of this segment.
Sure.
And you'll show me your thing because you ruined the surprise. You already showed it to me.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, I'm sad that I made a mistake. I had a happy little accident, as you would call it.
Okay, so next up on the roster is show and tell, where we're each going to bring in an item and it's going to surprise the other one. And it's a little bit of a meme. So, Everest, why don't you show us what you have and you tell us about it?
Sure.
And I'll fade down this porn music.
So, for those of you that are just listening and you can't see, today I brought in an Albone shell. And this is a shell mainly found in parts of New Zealand, but also in some parts of British Columbia. And it's used by the indigenous peoples for something that's called smudging. And I can get into a long story about this, but I don't want to take up too much time.
Hold it up to the camera.
Yeah. So it's like this. It's beautiful looking. It looks like a combination
that
of
is very
pearls
nice.
and like oil. Here, do you want to check it out?
Yeah, I'll take a look at it here.
So, yeah, I'll start the story. So my grandmother on my mom's side, her name's Cassie. I call her Nana. She's awesome. She has kind of a hippie-infused nature. She's a lovely lady and super in touch with the outdoors and spirituality. And for a couple years, when my mom was a young teenager, my grandma lived on a indigenous reserve owned by the Mi'kmaq tribe. And she had spent a couple years there, and she actually was engaged to one of the chiefs of that tribe, which is pretty cool. She didn't end up going through with it. She kind of wanted to get back to what she believed was like the reality that she wanted to live in. She kind of wanted to get out of that space. It turned out to not be the best environment. But she took a lot of the beautiful culture of that place that she lived in with her, and she brought it to my brother and I. And she brought it to us in the forms of gifts, of items, but also in giving us actual native names. So the purpose of this shell and the purpose of smudging is basically what you do is you place very beautiful, fine, and great smelling herbs into the shell. You crush them up, you cut them up any size you want. And the purpose of that is to place them in the shell and then get what is called Mother Earth hair. It's basically a twine, very beautifully scented twine of braided of wheat. And basically what you do is you chop it up, put it in the shell, and then you burn it. And with the smoke that comes from it, you were to take your hands, place it over the shell like so, with two instead of one, and then bring it and swipe it over your face. Swipe the smoke over your face, known as smudging. And that acts as a protection. And like years and years ago, Indigenous peoples of Canada would do this before going into battle. Another thing that they would do is they would drink a lot of water before going to sleep, so that they'd have to pee in the morning, early in the morning, so that they would also wake up. It was kind of like an old-fashioned alarm clock before going to battle, so that they could get a jump on the enemy. Morning start. And upon doing that, they would have a smudging ritual, and they would smudge and bring the smoke over their face for protection and longevity in a fight, and protection of spirituality, of what you believe. It's beautiful because it can be transitioned to almost anything. It can be a physical or mental cleanse if you want. It can be for protection. It can be to reduce stress. It's a beautiful scent. If we were allowed to, I'd light some in here, but yeah, you can put a bunch of stuff. Yeah, we'd get in trouble
for that pretty quick.
One of the computers is already broken. We don't need to break any more stuff.
I fixed it.
Yeah, Aiden's been.
I wasn't supposed to fix it, but I fixed it. It's working now.
You're
gonna
welcome.
get in trouble. They're gonna be like, "You're not supposed to touch stuff," but hey,
you fixed it. Yeah.
Anyways, I love your shell.
Thanks, man.
It's very cool.
Mm-hmm.
Very wholesome. Neat story attached to it.
Mm-hmm.
Very sentimental. Are you ready for what I brought?
Yeah, I'm ready.
Because there's a neat story attached to it. It's very sentimental. Okay.
Okay, hit
it's
me.
Very heavy. Okay.
Okay.
Camera's on me. Okay.
Okay, I'm excited.
All right.
I'm excited for the tone change too.
All right. I guess you can't really see that, but I just plopped a gallon. How much is in here?
I think it's a gallon.
1.32 gallons of SAE 5W30 motor oil.
It's good stuff.
I don't have a car. I did for a little bit. kind of. It's not anymore. So we both work at the same place, and my boss likes to give things as bonuses sometimes, you know, especially if it's cheap for him, right? It's cheaper just for him to give you something that he has, and like he's like, yeah, I'm not gonna pay you, you know. So his mother-in-law had a '97 Honda Civic that hadn't run in like 5 years, and it was just behind the warehouse.
Beautiful
And he's
car.
like, yeah, it was nice. Like, it was clean on the inside. I don't have any pictures. It's a green Honda Civic 4-door. I mean, you can picture it. 1997. Year older than I am. So I spent about $300 in parts trying to get it running, and they sold us the wrong brake pads. Everest was there the whole time. That's why.
Oh yeah, it was a friggin' cluster.
Yeah.
It was a bad one.
The belts were squealing and smoking, so you couldn't run it for 5 minutes, or else like you'd snap the belt.
Well, then we almost had a mini heart attack. I think we both thought that we accidentally cut the wrong belt when we cut the
I think
the
we
cooling
did.
belt. Yeah, we did.
I think I looked at it because I don't want to get too mechanical because I don't think anybody's. We'll have an episode about mechanical stuff.
Yeah. We'll
but
bring people up to speed on knowledge that we would pertain to.
There was one belt going to one pulley, and I was convinced it was the air conditioning pump, and I don't think it actually was. Actually, having closer inspection, I think it might have been the oil pump, but. Yeah. So, anyways, I pay $50, $300 in parts. I buy a battery for it. I buy some oil for it. I buy the wrong brake pads for it. And I end up getting it towed to a mechanic to get it safetied. And I'm like, you know what? Take care of the belt thing. I'm not going to spend any more money on this thing unless, like, you know. He calls me back later that day. He's like, yeah, this is uncertifiable in every way. We had it up on the lift, and we thought it was going to snap in half and fall down on us. And I guess, like, underneath it's pretty much all disintegrated. But when we had it on the jack to take the tire off to do the brakes, I was, like, looking at it from kind of far away near the dumpster behind the warehouse at work. And I'm pretty sure it was twisted because we had one wheel up in the air on the jack, right? But the back two wheels were perfectly flat on the ground. And the suspension is aftermarket, so it's super hard. And, like, the gap between the wheels was the same, so the car twisted when you jacked it up.
Weird. It was sketchy. It
was
sketchy
pretty sketchy.
to like, because at some points we'd have to like go in the car and grab some stuff from inside, but the way that it was angled, it literally felt if you leaned on it the wrong way, it was going to plop over on that one side.
Yeah.
Like, always make sure to not have your feet under there.
Yeah, well, we didn't have a proper jack either. We just had the roadside jack.
Yeah.
If we were in Ottawa, had me pops in his garage, we would have been fine.
We could have built a friggin' spaceship out of that thing if we were in
I got a
Ottawa.
welder up there too. We could have
Yeah.
just put, cheap sheet metal over the rust, but whatever.
Yeah.
That's a problem for another day.
So sadly, it is.
It's going to be crushed.
Yeah.
Took it to the mechanic. He said, we'll crush it for you. And I'm like, all right.
Aiden and I find it quite sad when cars get crushed because we have both had two very personal, great relationships with each of our first vehicles, and both of them have supposedly been crushed. But Aiden's, we don't think so.
Yeah, so Everest had a
Trail-
03 Trailblazer. I had an 04 Honda Pilot. My Honda Pilot was named Yoko after Yoko Ono because when you took her around a bend too fast, she would sing. She'd sound like Yoko Ono when she was singing. She'd be like, you know? And it had like 300,000 kilometers on it. It was leaking coolant into the cylinders, which if you're not mechanical, like that just sounds bad. Like you should know that's bad. That's not good. So my parents are like, all right, we'll take it to the dealership. They'll give us $500 for it. We're driving around. You're driving a U-Haul truck. I'm driving the work van. And I see 2004 Honda Pilot, missing the H on the front, which my mom took off to give to me. One headlight's foggy, one's not because it was in an accident before we owned it. Rust in all the right spots. You know? Like that's my Yoko. She's followed me to Toronto.
Yeah.
Makes me really happy.
It's beautiful to think that she's still out there kicking and rolling, you know, and thinking that she actually got crushed.
Yeah.
I think it was that's such a possibility too, because I feel like Toronto. Maybe it could or couldn't be. Like, would you say that Toronto is like a decent like demographic for resale on cars?
I don't know, because when my parents were shopping for a new car, they looked at some used lots because we never buy new, and a lot of cars that like were coming in were all from York Regional Police. Like we went to multiple lots in the same area, and they all had cars that had fingerprints on them that had York Regional Police like evidence tape on them. So I mean, they're clearly hauling these cars around. You know, that truck's
Yeah.
got to go somewhere. You know.
Well, I'm sure like car rental businesses as well. Like that's a huge.
Oh yeah, like fleet sales. You know, you
Yeah.
think about all the Ford cop cars that are, you know, they always scare me because I always see them. I'm like, oh crap, I gotta slow down. And then it's
Freaking
no,
80-year-old.
just some like 25-year-old guy who thinks he's cool because he's got a cop car now. You know.
Yeah. I'm not gonna lie. I wouldn't mind owning one of those cars. Because you've actually convinced me on this as well. Because they're
Yeah.
constantly upkept. They're very well maintained. Like like belts have been changed every 1,000 clicks or whatever it is.
Well, it's been professionally maintained
Yeah.
by a organization, you know.
Exactly.
And they got big, lazy V8s in them that are undertuned, so they'll
Mhm.
last 1,000,000 miles.
Yeah.
They got big 24-volt electrical systems to run all the cop stuff, you know. I just realized this lighting makes me look like an absolute ghoul.
Yeah, the lighting is a little weird in here.
Ooh, spooky. Okay, what were we talking about?
Well, the lighting now,
Yeah.
and it's spooky. We're getting close to Halloween. I feel like we could get some mid-level lights because having everything kind of coming top to bottom is a little.
You look
heavy.
fine.
Yeah.
I look
thanks,
like-
man.
It just looks spooky, man. You want to talk about the election?
You want to talk? I like to talk about something else.
Ooh,
No, we can. Yeah.
ooh, we wrote that. We wrote
did.
that ahead of
Yeah,
time.
that was actually in quotations. I thought I'd bring it out.
I don't know. What do you want to do? Do you want
Yeah, let's just do it. Let's jump into it. I'm not really surprised that liberals got their won. But the fact that it was a minority vote, the fact that no party got a majority of vote, like no party got more than half of like the entirety of voters, is really surprising. I feel like I botched that sentence, but it's surprising to me that it's a minority government this time around, but not surprising that liberals are the head of it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm not. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I think our polling system is flawed, right? Like,
Mhm.
everyone I talked to wanted to vote NDP, but they voted Liberal because they didn't want to split the vote and let the Conservatives win. You know.
Yeah.
And this is downtown Toronto. It's a very liberal NDP area. Where I'm from, it's very conservative, but I lean more liberal, so I vote Liberal or NDP. But I just think, you know, if we had something like there's systems where you can number your order for the parties, right? So let's say you want the NDPs, so you number them 1, and then you also like the Liberals, so you number them 2, and then you give the Greens 3. So when they count all the votes as if your NDP 1 is a vote for the NDP. And if they are in last place, then your number 2 comes in effect.
Yeah.
So it just kind of whittles down your
Yeah.
list until there's like a majority consensus on a leader.
right.
Does that make sense?
Yeah. No, that does make sense.
Did I explain that well? There's a really good CGP Grey video. Maybe I'll put it in the description if people
Yeah.
actually watch this after.
Yeah. No, for sure.
But it's so much better because you can actually vote for who you want to vote for and like not be afraid that the guy you want least running the country is going to run the country, you know?
Right, and that your vote's going to actually contribute to that,
Like
regardless.
the NDP were polling so well, and
Right.
then they come in 4th behind the Bloc Québécois. Like
Yeah.
who outside of Quebec voted for the Quebec Bloc? You know?
Man, I remember seeing it was weeks before the actual final day for voting occurred, but I saw that the Green Party was I hope I'm saying this right. I think the Green Party was in front of the NDP for the current polls, and that was just shocking to me. Not in like a bad way, in a great way, because Green Party seems to be doing well, and it's always nice to see, representing parties, kind of make their next steps and do well. Like you want to see as much of that as you can up until the point of them taking over whichever party that you actually want to be voted and elected into office. But it's just NDP, I always feel, gets so much crap talked about them, and they get super scrutinized because they're always the party that is said to always talk a big game but never actually do it. The Liberals as well. But I feel like NDP is like a change that a lot of people really, really want to see, but kind of know that it's never going to happen. Or not, at least
Yeah.
for a while. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. And that's what makes me nervous about the American election too, right? Because I haven't followed it too closely recently, but I think that like there's a good chance that Bernie Sanders could be the Democratic nominee, right?
Right.
And I think he's a great guy. He's got great policies. I'd vote for him. I think he'd be a great prime minister. But my fear is that Donald Trump's so far to the right and Bernie Sanders is so far to the left that everyone who's in the middle is like, I'm not going to vote. I don't like either of them, you know?
Right. That everyone's kind of caught in between the lesser. Well, I feel like everybody is kind of looking at the American election like choosing the lesser between two evils.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thanks for the subscribe, Liz.
She did subscribe?
Yeah.
Oh, wicked. It's cool now because I can think back to like when I was in like the 7th grade, and my parents would be going out to vote, and them always putting an emphasis on how important it was to get out and vote, to do your civic duty or civil duty, and it kind of puts into perspective for me now how we're just kind of moving through time and getting older and getting to like a newer stage of adulthood in which we're actually voting and maintaining our spot within society. And thinking about that makes me think about our university experience and our university careers and how we're edging closer and closer to the end. And like high school, in the beginning, in grade 9 and 10, like you think it's going to last forever. Like it seems like that. It seems like it's going to be a really long time, grueling. Didn't think university was going to be really grueling. I thought it was going to be fun, but it's gone by fast now that we're at this point for me, I feel like.
Yeah. Yeah, no, like I know what you mean. Like it's technically my 4th year because I did a year in media and decided that was not my cup of tea, and then I switched to media production. So I am going to have to do a little bit of a 5th year probably to do practicum and finish up some courses and stuff.
Right.
But even with my extended time, like it feels like 2nd year, you know? Like it's just like I started noticing this in like grade 8, right? It's like the whole of grade 8 felt like a month of grade 7, and then the whole of grade 9 felt like a month of grade 8, and then the whole of grade 10 felt like a month of grade 9. Like you know what they say about the how time speeds up as you get older because of, you know, 1 year of your life is 100% of your life when you're 1 year old, but it's, you know, 1/30th of your life by the time you get 30.
Yeah, the
know?
ratio bracket keeps like bopping down.
Yeah,
as time
like
goes on.
Jesus Christ, you're gonna be like so old like that, you know?
And going through this type of development right now, in the hindsight of how in danger our world is right now, environmentally,
Yeah.
kind of puts it into an even greater perspective, because I think back to like the times of being a kid and told that I was, and by the way, like it's I'm going into my 4th year as well. Like I did a year at Carleton and then realized that wasn't my cup of tea, and then wanted to come over to Ryerson, get back into media production and so on. So both of us in our 4th years, it's just I keep looking around and seeing the people that I'm trying to aspire to be like, and trying to, you know, model myself after great people that do really, really well in life in all aspects that I want to. And I just find like, is doing all of that and putting all of this work into something that isn't really helping the longevity of our planet really, really worth it? And I'm only thinking of this in this kind of like dramatic, radical sense, only because of how, like, we're kind of in a pickle, man, environmentally. We really are. It's dangerous, and it's getting close. We're on like a legitimate timeline. And this has been said, in 2012, world's going to end. In 1998, world's going to end. The ice storm, a bunch of stuff was said due to the ice storm.
Y2K.
Yeah, exactly. But this time around, and I feel like this is a constant cycle. People say before, this time around it's true. This time around it's true now. I really feel that this time around it's true. Actually true. Yeah. So it scares me, honestly.
Yeah, me too, dude. It is almost 10:40. We're getting kind of dark.
Yeah.
Do you have a goofy song?
I have a goofy song.
I think it's time for. Would you agree it's time for our meme of the week?
Yeah, I'm super.
This
down.
is a new segment. They're all new segments today.
All right, we're gonna.
All right, which one you want me to do first? 1 or 2?
Because
I gotta run over to the.
maybe
okay.
let's do one. Let's
okay.
do one.
Can you look at it on your phone, can you see what? Okay.
I can see it.
All right. I'll be right back.
Yeah, memes are a great mode of communication and expressing yourself. I think memes are a beautiful aspect of the internet that is fresh and new and ever evolving. Memes are great.
We only have one meme of the week this week because the other one's account is private.
Oh, shoot.
Which sucks. Unless you want to like hold it
can,
up to the camera.
I can
which...
describe one. We could
No,
like, show one.
you know
and
what?
then
There's a
describe
camera
one.
right behind you. We'll hold it up to that one when we're ready. Okay.
This one.
That one.
That one. Okay.
But not right now.
All right. Which one are we pulling up first?
We're doing number one.
So the Joker one.
Yes.
Wicked.
Spoilers. Okay, are you ready? You got some goofy music?
Yeah. Goofy music.
Okay. All right. She's live. What's 8-year-olds? When anyone says literally anything, and they're probably with your mom.
I think that's funny because your mom was the one line that you could use to completely knock down all the blocks of anybody else's argument or statement or diss, quote unquote. Like if you said your mom in the right time frame.
I don't know. What about Joe?
What do you mean?
You said it wrong.
What about Joe?
Joe Mama.
Joe Mama.
Oh.
See, that's what I'm talking about. You can break down the blocks anyway
Yeah.
with that sentence. Okay, let's go to. Can we do the second one?
Sure.
Okay.
So I think that's. Hold up. I'm gonna leave it on you because this might be kind of funny to look at, and I'm gonna preview. I think it's this one. Oops.
Well, let's see how this works.
That is 5. Oh, that's the one behind my head. Hold up.
All right, should
Okay.
I try?
Yeah.
Okay.
Try.
So, let's see that.
Hold up. Back it up a bit. Down a little bit. Down a little bit to the camera's left. Hold it back a little bit.
Oh my God.
All right. Surface web, deep web, dark web, page 2 of Google.
Who uses page 2 of Google? I feel like if you use page 2 of Google, your Google search is not hefty enough, or too hefty.
I think you're gonna be ready to hit me. Are you ready?
Okay, yeah.
I use DuckDuckGo.
Can you please explain to the audience and to the listeners what DuckDuckGo is?
Yeah, it's just I'm not a Google sheep.
Aiden doesn't confine himself to the mass.
I'm a rebel.
Yeah.
Without a cause.
Does it have a better speed?
No, honestly, it's terrible.
Yeah?
Sometimes I have to use Google to look stuff up just because I can't find it. But like,
Is it safer?
it's just like they don't keep stuff about you, you know?
Yeah. That's true, actually. Yeah, private, like, because you don't. Are you one of those people that really likes having all of your passwords kind of kept in, kept in iCloud and having it keyed in every time that you open?
Yeah,
it
I use one password and I use like a different password for every account, and I use like 2-factor authentication and stuff. Like, I just take that pretty seriously, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you find that business of web safety and web privacy like has a lot of growing to do? Because like I feel like as innovation in like just the realm of the internet itself like keeps innovating and developing and further like getting larger and larger, but the systems put in place to kind of maintain security and safety on them, I'm not sure if they're at the same pace of development.
Yeah, like I think that like tech companies right now, like Facebook, Google, Apple, are kind of where like Ford, Chrysler, and GM were in like the 20s or 30s, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Because they've had their like peak heyday kind of where everyone's like absolutely obsessed with them, loves them, you know, thinks of the new thing, the great thing, they're the disruptors in the world or whatever. And now they're big established corporations. And they have, you know, privacy and safety and all sorts of concerns, you know, like it's like there's a really famous book called Unsafe at Any Speed about the Chevy Corvair and how and the Ford Pinto and stuff, like all these cars where the companies knew that they were dangerous and an $11 part would have made them safe, but they opted not to have the $11 part put on because they figured that the fallout of a lawsuit would be cheaper than buying an $11 part for this fleet of vehicles.
Right.
And there's the guy in Fight Club, Tyler Durden,
Oh yeah.
the main guy,
Edward
Norton's
Norton.
character.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wicked movie.
His that's his job, is to assess whether it's cheaper to face a lawsuit from these deaths or whatever, or to do a recall and put parts on all these vehicles, right? So I just think we're at that point with tech where they're scummy people,
Right.
in corporate America or whatever. I don't really know how to phrase this. You know, like I just feel like they're at that point in their corporate maturing, you know, where they're
Where the weight of safety for their user does not outweigh the
where
financial
it's just
need and gain.
profits are the most important thing,
Yes.
right? Because like at these companies, when they all started out, they're all passionate about the product that they created, right?
That's how they gain.
And that's how they
customer
gained,
base.
and that's how they built, and now all they care about is what they have built and their money, you know. So
Right.
I just think, you know, it just kind of disgusts me a little bit, and yeah.
Do you think that the severity of situations like that, like obviously they vary a lot pertaining to different countries, certain ethical laws, certain actual laws, government laws, like kind of create like the outcome of that. But like, how do they differ, do you think, like per country or per continent? Like for like production laws, let's say like if we were talking about vehicles, right?
Yeah.
Like production safety and maintenance safety on like certain like, commercial vehicles. Do you think that it's like the vehicles that are being delivered to like states in America and their safety regulations? Do you think that they are the same when certain models, the same specific models, are delivered to other parts of the world?
So I think this is almost something we should have an entire episode about if you want to.
Yeah, I
Because
think
there's
so
a lot
too.
to go into, and
Yeah.
we should have some statistics pulled up. But I know, for instance, Australia has to have you safety your car every 2 years or something. You buy something called Redro, and the way it works in Ontario is you safety a car. It's inspected for certain points of failure every time it's bought or sold. Australia, it's every 2 years. So you can buy a car that had just had its safety done, and you get good 2 years out of it before it needs its safety again. California, for instance, I don't think has anything like that, but they have way stricter emission stuff. So in Ontario, we have emissions you need to do every 4 years, I think, 2 years, something like that. I think California, it's almost every year. I think. I don't know. Don't quote me. I'm just
That's a lot, though.
mighty car mods here. So
Yeah. I'd love to go to California. That'd be great. I feel like
you look like you're from California in that shirt, my guy.
Yeah, I know.
That's a very liberal, very liberal shirt, very liberal use of plants.
It's
there.
a liberal.
Wink.
It's a liberal shirt, but the color coordination's of the conservatives.
Ooh.
Do you see what I'm doing here?
Yeah, I see what you're doing.
If I run into the wrong political activist, this will get ripped off. Halloween's coming up, man.
What are you gonna be?
I thought about this for a while. I could not decide, and part of that reason, and the reason I was stressed about it, and still a little bit am, is because I kind of left it to the last minute. Not due to procrastination, because I was actually really focused on school and just a bunch of other stuff. Just didn't really have the time to put anything together. So last night, kind of spent a couple hours figuring it out. And my lady and I have decided to kind of play on the failure that was the Area 51 raid. So she's going to be an Area 51 alien, and I'm going to be the Area 51, I guess you could say, doctor.
Nice.
Scientist.
Nice.
Yeah.
What
about you?
Yeah, me and my roommates, we're gonna do Seinfeld after the car crash. So I don't know if there was a car crash in Seinfeld. I can't remember, but
It is now.
I wanted to be do Seinfeld. I'm gonna be George Costanza. My one roommate's gonna be Jerry Seinfeld. Other roommate's gonna be Elaine. Another guy's gonna be Kramer. But my roommate Lila wanted to do a spooky thing. So I'm like, okay, what if we're like zombies or something? And she's like, I don't want to be zombies. I'm like, okay, how about car crash? And she's like, okay, I'll do car crash. So we went to the thrift store the other day. I just like my buddy that's doing the Jerry outfit's got it so perfect. He's got like a pink poofy shirt. He's got like the high waisted like acid wash jeans. He's got these like white '90s Shaq runners. Like it's perfect, man. I went and bought a bald cap last night. I got some little round glasses.
Did you say a bald cap?
bald cap?
Okay,
Yeah.
I thought you said a ball cap for a second. So you
No.
need both.
George Costanza is bald.
Yeah. I'm actually, I didn't know that. I'm really excited to see you bald.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Why? You got something you want to tell me?
Yeah, no, honestly, I just want to see like the light glisten off of your sweating skull.
Oh, man.
I just can't wait.
Yeah, there was like a Scooby-Doo episode where they were with Harlem Globetrotters and they polished the guy's head and used it as like an SOS mirror. Random thought. I don't know why I said that. All right. Anything else on our list here? Stuff we want to talk about?
What? Oh, yeah. On the Halloween note, what are your favorite like early or favorite or least favorite Halloween memories? One or two?
Okay, so I used to live in Alberta when I was very young, right? From when I was 5 to about 8, and it's cold there. Like normally you have snow. I was outside Edmonton. Normally you have snow before Halloween, right? So all my Halloween costumes had to incorporate the snowsuit. So I would be warm while trick or treating, you know. Moved back to Ottawa because I was born in Ottawa. Grade 3. And I want to be a spaceman. So we incorporate, that's easy to incorporate the snowsuit into, right? So we get a painter suit from Home Depot. We spray paint my dad's old motorcycle helmet white. I put on the snowsuit, put on the painter suit, wear the white helmet.
That's actually
got
a
a
really
little
good
little
costume.
jetpack. I got some dryer vents coming up to the sides of the helmet. You know, just find a picture of it, man. It's a cute costume.
That sounds like an awesome costume.
But yeah, it was probably like what 20 degrees out still, and I was in a snowsuit. Like,
Oh my god.
like I was just drenched when I got back. They're like, "Holy crap, you get out of the shower or something?" Jesus.
Now I'm going as water.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm a scuba diver.
Yeah. I'm an almost drowned victim.
How about you? You got any stories?
I have a pretty bad one, honestly. This was like physically very painful for a long time. Basically, and I think it was the 6th grade. We used to do, even when we were living on the farm out in between Hammond and Rockland in the middle of nowhere, we would always come into the city for trick or treating because the houses are too spread apart out there. There's no way you're actually gonna do trick or treating, right?
Yeah.
And they're scary enough as it is in the dark. So when I was young, about 6th grade, we would always go to our friend's place downtown in Orleans. And this one time, for 1 year, I wanted to be a zombie, but I couldn't really do all the makeup and stuff like that, and I didn't want to put a ton of stuff on my face. So my mom made the suggestion. She's like, "Oh, why don't you just be like a zombie that got shot or something?" So I was like, "Okay, cool." So we made like a little bullet hole in the top of my head with makeup. But to do this, I had to put a base of this white paste around my face to kind of give it like the zombie, you know, like the scary look. That white paste ended up being like this super crazy glue that's only supposed to be used for putting on prosthetics, like noses, like fake noses and ears.
Oh,
So I
jeez.
thought that it was this white, just like shade paste. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So all night I'm walking around and I have this cool look on, and I got this wicked makeup, and what at the time seemed like wicked makeup. And then that night we get back with our big bags of candy, and while the parents are checking on them, making sure there's nothing wrong with any of the candies, I go in to wash my face off and blah blah blah. The bullet and all the blood and the fake blood and stuff washed off fine, but the white paste did not go. It did not dissipate at all. It stayed there. It ended up being so painful. I was trying to peel pieces off. It was like one of those masks, you know, like those cleansing masks. But imagine if it was like super glue, like it was meant to stay on.
Holy crap.
It sucked. So I had to, for the next week and a half, it wouldn't come off. The only way that we could get it off is if we had used sandpaper, but that was like really, really hurting my skin. It was terrible, man. It sucked. So for about a week and a bit, something like that, I had to wear a pillowcase over my head because I was so embarrassed. So like I would walk out to the barn if I had to talk to my mom or anything while she was giving horse riding lessons. I'd have to wear a pillowcase over my head and cut little eye holes. So I looked like I was wearing a costume for the entire few weeks after Halloween.
Costume.
Costume. But yeah,
I think people know what I'm thinking with the white hood.
Yeah.
Not gonna say it though.
It was a ghost.
Yeah.
All right, everybody.
Yeah,
it was a ghost.
Yeah. Okay.
It was a medical condition. This needed to be met and addressed.
This has nothing to do with Halloween, but I got a similar story. All right.
All right.
Our mutual friend knows this guy. But there's this guy that lives on my street. He was just a dumb kid, man. He was in this Boy Scouts, and he went camping with his family. And the only reason I bring up that he's in the Boy Scouts is that he knows what poison ivy looks like. So he was out in the woods with his brother. He found poison ivy. He identified it as poison ivy. He's like, I'm going to eat this.
Oh my gosh.
We didn't see him again for a month. He was in the hospital. He was in bed. Like, that's a Darwin Award, though. If you eat poison ivy,
That is a Darwin Award.
like, that's just natural selection at work.
Yeah. Holy dude.
Yeah.
That's really, really bad. I don't think I'm going to say it this episode because I think I want to tell the full story when we have more time.
Yeah.
I have a very, very personable poison ivy story. So I can understand and relate to the fact that guy ate it and understand how bad that is. That's really not good.
Yeah.
Because it would be bubbling through, like every part that ivy touched, it would be bubbling closer and closer to the opposite side of his esophagus, his intestines.
Oh, yeah.
everything.
He probably almost died, man. Like, he's fine,
That's insane.
Yeah.
Don't eat poison ivy.
Yeah,
3
you're-
leaves and shiny. Don't eat poison ivy. 3 leaves and shiny. Also not for the hiney. Okay. 8 poison ivy. I can't believe that, man.
Yeah.
There is a quite large gathering this Friday, a little soiree
No, there isn't.
at a certain place. I'm pretty excited for it. I'm excited to party. It's gonna be fun. Halloween parties, I think, are one of my favorites. Do you have a favorite like season to party in?
Oh, Halloween.
Halloween. Yeah.
Yeah. It's just fun being able to get to dress up as something goofy,
Yeah.
Oh, is there anything else on our list? We're down to the last 4 minutes here.
I don't think so. Not anything on the list.
No?
One thing that I find is like really, really cool about Halloween is I like how it gives people the opportunity to really go hard. Like, just for as one example, like makeup, right?
Yeah.
Like women, including my girlfriend, told me this, so it makes sense. Like, it's such a great opportunity to really go to the real extremes with your makeup ability, because you gotta like not contribute to the beauty standard, but there's a lot of times when you're putting on makeup you can't really go crazy and accentuate with a bunch of crazy stuff. Some people do and are very comfortable with it. Some people aren't. But Halloween's a time when everybody can really just let go and have a wicked awesome time, be comfortable how they look, because everybody's on that level and it's great. I wish there was more of like a modernized real world version of that could be happening 24/7.
Well, it's always fun just seeing what people come up with, right? Like two of my friends last year, they dressed in bright colors, and one of them was Hubba and the other one was Bubba, like the chewing gum, kids chewing gum.
That's wicked.
Yeah.
I'm excited. I'm happy that I was able to pull this last kind of Halloween costume out the rear. It's a last minute decision. I was worried that I wasn't going to have anything relatively good.
Because we're talking about you doing the mask.
Yes. Yeah, that's another funny thing. So I wanted to be the mask, Jim Carrey from that movie. And Liz was like, I'll do the makeup for you. I'll put the makeup on. Well, I was like, isn't the whole friggin' point to wear a mask? But then, it makes sense because nothing's going to be open to buy one of those things. But no, I like the Area 51 idea a lot better, I think.
Yeah.
It's going to be fun. I'm excited. Too bad we can't go trick-or-treating anymore. Really sad.
Have you seen all this this blue basket, Halloween basket? Like
No.
the pumpkin head basket stuff.
Oh, yeah, I've seen like the baskets for candy.
Yeah, like they're normally orange.
Yeah.
I think it's great. They got blue ones now, and the whole idea is that it's a sign of someone with some sort of developmental disorder or low functioning autism or something like that. And the idea is that they may be an adult, but they still love Halloween. They've got a great spirit, just give them a piece of candy. And the idea is that the blue bucket's the signal,
Nice.
So you're supposed to spread the word.
Right.
So we're spreading the word.
Yeah.
See someone who looks like they should be too old to trick or treat, and they got a blue bucket. Give them a piece of candy.
Yeah. Give them 2 pieces of candy.
Yeah.
Or 3.
Yeah.
Or be like the guy that used to live on my street and give out goldfish when I was in like the 9th grade.
Is that why you like goldfish? This guy is always eating goldfish.
No.
I swear to God.
Everybody that I've told this story to thinks that, not the food, legit goldfish in a bag. He would he'd buy like 100 goldfish, individually bag them in water, and then give them each to a kid. After the 100 were gone, turn off his lights, bed for the night. He would give real goldfish, like an actual pet, to kids instead of candy. Isn't
If
that
I were
awesome?
a parent, I would hate that, man.
Oh.
Now I gotta buy a tank for it. I gotta buy food for it. Like, how are we gonna get home? We got another 100 houses to go to. I'm just gonna walk around with this fish all night.
Oh, frig. That's funny. Everybody, get your goldfish. Have a fantastic, fantastic Halloween.
Yeah, I think that's our show for today.
That's episode 2, everybody.
Shout out Eunice Young. Shout out Hayden Sewell. Shout out Daniel Kwan. Shout
out everybody at work. Shout out our friends and family.
Yeah.
Shout out our loved ones. It's been a great day.
Hi, Grandpa. Yeah.
All right. Thanks
right.
for tuning in, everybody. Have a great weekend.
Alrighty. We'll catch you on the flip side.